Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Wait, Are These Guys Friends? I am Mike, and I am here with Randy, and it is the Christmas season, guy. You ready for it?
Festive.
This is like one of your absolute favorite times of year. I look forward to talking to you about all the Christmas media, all the Christmas things. I believe you sent me your decorations are up. You got it looking real festive outside, right?
It's one of my favorite things. Just this whole season, just as soon as we hit the end of Thanksgiving, I try to do that. I try to wait till the Friday or Saturday after Thanksgiving. I don't try to put the stuff up beforehand. And yeah, a bunch of inflatables in the front yard. I added a couple this year, so just the whole spectacle. Our neighborhood, it used to be it was just me. So he's like, you come down our road and you would just see just one eminence of light about halfway down the street. But now other people are starting to get into the maybe our neighborhood is kind of like turned around or flipped around, and so there's more families and stuff. But it's a lot of fun.
You infused them with cheer.
So,
yeah.
But I
You're
get a
no
real kick out of it.
Grinch.
So let's try to find little. We found some other panel kind of two-sided things that you could put on the windows, and so all sorts of other things. It's been a lot of fun. Yes, I'm a very festive individual. I love this time of year.
That's great. I love Christmas. I love decorating and all of that, but I will be honest this year that because now I might change this. This is going to sound sad sack. I don't mean it this way. I recently lost a job. So, as I know, I'm a freelancer, but my plan was to not decorate this year because I was only going to be home like 4 days in December.
Right.
And if I can't enjoy it, why do all the work to unpack everything, put it up, do all that?
Sure.
I am about to have like a 2.5-week run off, which might sway me to want to sit with the Christmas tree at night. It's a different vibe. Yeah. But, there's other things on this time of year that aren't just Christmassy.
That's true.
Although, are the specials even still airing on linear TV? Have all the rights been bought up by streamers at this point?
I was pretty sure that like NBC had a lot of it. I know we'll get into it later. Obviously, Apple TV has Peanuts, but I thought that most of them actually were re-bought up by NBC Universal, and so now they air them pretty routinely.
Okay.
But there's no rhyme or reason to the date. Like it's kind of like, oh, hey, by the way, this Wednesday the 17th or whatever.
Now,
it's
I
on.
actually always felt that way even back in the day.
Yeah.
But pre-streaming, I remember my dad and I being upset because we missed Rudolph because it was on like December 3rd. And we're like,
Right.
wait, they already aired Rudolph? What the
What are
fuck?
they doing?
Yeah.
I think too the Grinch has on Christmas now they've been taking to either playing the Illumination or the Jim Carrey movie instead of the actual one. Agreed. But like that, I think so. That's why the other Grinch airs earlier, and I think it had gone to cable for a while, and so it's hard to tell when and where it's going to air. But check your local listings.
It's nice that they're still airing on NBC because I said the streamer because I did notice that aside from Peanuts winding up on Apple, a ton of them were on Peacock, but of course they still have a linear network to air them on, so that makes sense. Where'd Rudolph wind up? Because I did see Frosty. I think I saw Frosty, Grinch. Is Rudolph on Peacock? It wound up
Rudolph
somewhere.
went back to NBC last year, so it started on NBC in the 60s when it aired.
It was on CBS for years, which is wild.
Right, so for 7 years on NBC, and then went to CBS for 50 years.
Wow. Hang on.
Yeah.
I had one bite of sandwich left, and I'm like, it's sitting right there. I want it. I'll probably cut this out, maybe, or maybe you guys can enjoy me. It's a raspberry Uncrustable. It's pretty good.
Nice. I didn't know that was a flavor they made.
They're new, and I wanted to try them, and I like it. It's got that little bit of raspberry.
Please sponsor us, Smuckers. So
yeah, right. No shit. But let's get to a quick little what we watched.
Yep.
You've got, I think, 2 things. I've got one thing. One thing that I can't get into because I believe you will want to watch it at some point, right? Am I incorrect in that assumption that you'll want to watch it at some point?
It has intrigued me, yeah. So I just haven't gotten around to watching it.
I'm going to try to talk Pluribus without ruining the show too much for you.
Yeah.
Honest to God, I say this in a good way. There are some deeper mysteries, but to me, it's really the strength of the performances. The trailers and commercials sell it very well. It is not hiding a layer that is like, oh, it's actually about this. No, there is a hive mind that has infected the planet. and there are 13 individuals who, for some reason, were not joined. And you would think, oh my God, there's terrifying. Oh my God, they're going to have to be hiding. No, the aliens are extremely hospitable. They're very, it's hilarious. They're very forthright. They're like, if we could assimilate you, we would. But since we can't, we'd like to make your existence here as comfortable as possible. And that's more performance-based thing of how are these normal people, mainly Rhea Seehorn playing Carol, who is just tour de force coming off Better Call Saul, hasn't lost a beat.
Right, okay.
Fucking
why do I know that name?
brilliant, brilliant actress. My God. But mainly her as someone who went into this being kind of angry, upset, recovering alcoholic, recovering heroin addict, author who writes successful books but feels like she's writing trash. She had a lot of issues in her life that she wasn't super thrilled with, despite success. How does someone who is now forced to live with people who are like, this is bliss, everything's perfect, I love life, and meanwhile she's still angry, and she's just like, I hate everything. And it sounds funny, and there are funny moments, but there were funny moments in Breaking Bad. There were funny moments in Better Call Saul. Vince Gilligan has a dark streak of humor running through him and everything he creates. But it's just staggering. The Vince Gilligan made, how do I say this? I'm trying to think, accessible sci-fi. When Game of Thrones broke through and just was a massive smash, it was accessible medieval lore, accessible Renaissance fare. People who had never watched that type of stuff were like, this is different. This is pretty good. I think that's what's happening right now with Pluribus, because there's a sci-fi conceit to get you to where this is, but once it's in place, it's human drama.
Sure. Okay.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we're more accepting of the... I think if you don't belabor the point on how we got to the point that we get to, I think we're a lot more accepting of how that happens, right? That seems to be existing through a lot of other things. And so it's, I mean, this is definitely one, it bought me from just the trailer or just seeing little snippets to say, yeah, I got to check this out. It's fallen by the wayside. Then I thought it'll have to be the next couple of weeks.
What snippets have you seen? Because maybe I could talk about some of that, or...
I think you're better at treetops things. So I mean, I'm gonna watch it. So like, if you give mild spoilers, that's okay. I don't mind.
Well, basically, there's think about the fact that it's a hive mind, that they've taken over everyone on Earth. Maybe you've seen this clip, maybe you haven't, but I'll stay treetops. Knowing that they have taken over everyone on Earth, and everyone on Earth, but these 13 is now part of the hive mind, has made for the ability to do hilarious but natural cameos from celebrities you'd never expect. Because they're now just part of the hive mind.
Right.
It's like, and
they're just another one of them, right?
Right.
But they're not the celebrity. That's fun.
But they also recognize who they were. It's not like it's erased their memories. And it's like, and what's so fun about this is because she's the only one in America. No, there's two people in America, but she's the only one resisting. They try to work with her and talk with her. So every billboard, every phone call, every cable channel has now been reworked to talk to her directly. So like, she'll turn on TV and it'll be like, hello, Carol, I'm so-and-so. We hope you're doing okay today. And it's just like, this is great. And there's a viral thing happening right now, a TikTok viral thing about, in episode 3, and this is the last thing I'll get into that's detailed, there's something that happens that necessitates them leaving like a phone service for her with an answering machine message that she can a voicemail she can leave. Okay. And it has become this thing online of she can ask for these aliens for anything they want. You can ask the hive mind for anything they want, and they will do it to help her. But she hasn't asked them to shorten this message. And every time she calls, we sit through the entire thing. And she's as frustrated as we are. It's been a running gag. She's like, yes. It's like, has it not struck you? Like, there's people online being like, the first thing I would do if I had a hive mind willing to accommodate any need or any ask I want would go, shorten that fucking message so when I call next time, it sounds so bad.
Yeah.
And voice cameo for that message that we've now heard a billion times in the show over and over and over. Patrick Fabian, Howard Hamlin from Better Call Saul. So,
wow, very nice.
So, which would be fun because I think if he's voicing that message, there's a possibility to bring him in as a character on the show later on, which would be great.
Cool.
So, but worth your time. Very good.
What service?
Apple TV.
Blanking. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, which is the first thing I've really watched on Apple TV since Ted Lasso. And I think I'm not the only one who feels that way. Yes, I know they've had some mid-range stuff, but between Ted Lasso and Pluribus, it's like, oh, you're keeping me around. Okay.
There you go.
But that's it for me. If you start watching, I would love to get deeper into spoilers in further weeks. It's a real water cooler show right now. It's an episode by episode. It's a weekly release. And I'll tell you, that really does help conversations on TV shows because it builds hype, it builds curiosity. I realize, God, thinking about the Netflix Warner Brothers deal, I don't even want to get into that right now. Netflix changed the game with dumps, but they also lost something, you know. But anyway,
that segues wonderfully into my what I watched. As the over Thanksgiving on November 26th, Netflix dropped the first 4 episodes of season 5 of Stranger Things, and they are rolling it out somewhere in between, right? Like and very smartly are doing it right around major holidays. So there are 8 episodes in this 5th and final season of Stranger Things. They dropped 4 on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. They're dropping 3 on Christmas and 1 on the finale on New Year's Eve. So it's just like that whole back and forth. So it's in a amusing kind of side note of this whole thing. Every Thanksgiving, my mom comes out from Ohio and comes and spends Thanksgiving with us. We host Thanksgiving, and she spends the week. And the last 3 or 4 years, we have managed to get her hooked on a TV show that she had not seen before. That as soon as she went home, she binge watched like the rest of it. And so it was Ted Lasso one year. I'm trying to remember what the other ones were, but we started to get through all these different ones, and we were trying to play catch up on some Stranger Things, and there were different. We didn't watch, all 4 seasons, obviously, but there were some guys to say, hey, these are the 5 episodes from the first 4 seasons that kind of help you be a primer for season 5 to really like the really important stuff to hit right before. And so we started watching those, and then my mom was all in. She was like watching, couldn't turn away on Wednesday with the 26th when we watched all the episodes. And so we watched those 4. I admit I was nervous because I didn't know I just Game of Thrones happened, and every like last season is always dangerous. I mean, I trust the Duffer Brothers. They've doing a great job with this. It's such a fun nostalgic trip, and it borrows from so many different kind of homages to horror films while still working through their own kind of storyline. And so far, this has been good. They've building a story really well, introducing a couple characters, still trailing over from season 4, so we're not 100% sure. We know a big bad. We don't know if it's the big bad. And then ended kind of the last 15 minutes of the 4th episode is just bonkers, gangbusters, a mile a minute, ending with okay, the stakes are raised. So it does it without saying it one way or another. I'm very excited for the next 3 and the finale as well. They've done a nice job of the pace has been quick but not jammed in, right? It hasn't been like, oh, we got to tie this loose end up. We got to tie this loose end up. It is just, we're going to get to where we're going to get to and kind of reveal a bunch of different things, and things have been laying out really nicely. And one of the cool things that Stranger Things has done throughout its entire time is, I don't want to say unlikely pairings, but at times they'll pair certain characters together that you don't think you would have seen or you would want to see, and it works really well. And so they've done in a couple instances where off to the side on kind of a side mission, because there's, if you want to call it, there's 10 to 12 major characters that are the main characters in this.
I said I didn't really get into the show. No, hey, it just, some reason it didn't grab me.
Yep.
But you also know I'm a YouTube junkie, channels, whatever. There's a channel called Dead Meat, which is all horror videos and horror stuff. I don't know if you've seen his stuff at all.
Yep.
But he does deep dives on the production of a show, the kills on a show, the whatever. I watched every single Stranger Things video he did for some reason. So
Yeah.
I don't have an interest in watching the show this season, but I weirdly now know everything up to this season. Like,
Yeah.
I know all the character beats, all the plot beats, and listen, there's some fun-looking moments. I still don't have a desire to grab, but I can
Mhm.
actually say I know the characters you're talking about now.
Yeah.
So,
It is fun too because I think it was the third episode, and then I don't know if he actually directed it or it was just worked on it as well, but Frank Darabont was involved in that one, and it's pretty evident in the fourth episode. There's a couple kills where you're like, oh yeah, this feels Walking Deadish. Like
nice.
this has some it's a little more gruesome, and you're just like, okay, these kids are grown up, and so is the violence. So it's which is fun because it really is that kind of throwback 80s horror, but also whimsy. It's kind of like, Spielberg meets John Carpenter. I mean, that's probably oversimplifying it, but it has these moments of just, it's really unique and really fun. And obviously I've invested a lot of time in watching into it, but I'm glad that it has not, it
So
doesn't
far, they're
feel,
sticking it.
it doesn't feel like Game of Thrones final season, which I
Good.
was like, I'm going to stick through this because I hope it gets better. Whereas this is like, all right, you still got me hooked. I'm really into it. So so
Great.
far so good. Well done, Duffers. So
To me, I realized it went like 14 more years and it made AMC a boatload of money, but creatively, because I stopped in season 2, as I
mhm.
said, with Walking Dead, one of the biggest swings and misses of all times was falling out with Frank Darabont and not letting him guide The Walking Dead
Yep,
to what I think probably being a better show than what it wound up being.
you're not
But
wrong.
yeah.
So yeah,
Anyway,
it's the one other thing that well, I got two. I'll go through them pretty quickly. But one other Netflix show that I watched was Death by Lightning, which was a limited series about it was based off a book of the assassination of James Garfield from the
I
like
want to watch
18.
this, but
It's
I don't want to get Netflix again.
it's well, hopefully maybe it'll go to a different or you can buy it or something like that. But it's really well done because it isn't the vein of this is something from the 1800s, the 19th century, where the dialogue is updated slightly so it doesn't sound so, I don't know, you don't want to say wooden, but just very much of the time. They still use some of the dialogue, but also update it a little bit so it sounds a little more modern, but not to the point where it takes away from, you're like, come on, this is 1880. We can't we can't do this. But the performances are awesome. I don't know. I growing up in Ohio, like I knew this whole story. I know the story of the Republican National Convention where
Oh,
they
I
went,
want to say I'm
huh?
actually looking up on the YouTube or the Apple Store to see if I can buy an individual episode.
Yeah.
Netflix doesn't usually do that till like 3 years after it's been out, but now I'm
Oh
definitely
yeah.
curious. Please continue.
So well, and the story behind that is they went in a couple different nominees where they would do the actual roll call and the delegates would meet in a certain city and call out, and if once they had a certain majority, they had their nominee. And James Garfield was speaking on behalf of I think the Treasury Secretary, another guy from Ohio, because he was a congressman from Ohio, and his speech was so impassioned that all of a sudden he started getting votes. And as the roll calls continued until they had a majority, it became Garfield, even though he wasn't even planning on running. And so that's why he had this kind of front porch philosophy where he would bring people to his farm in Ohio, and he became pretty popular for a lot of things he was trying to do were pretty progressive. And he got elected, but there was this delusional narcissist who basically thought that he was part of Garfield's campaign. He thought he got him elected, and really he was just like I said, he was a narcissistic
Is it,
psychopath.
I might know this. Was it Charles Couteau?
Gito, yeah.
You know why I know this is
What is that?
because there is a balls to the wall, hilarious, it makes no sense episode of American Dad where they clone James Garfield to try to get Haley interested in history, but then he doesn't care and he gets so accustomed to modern day and loves orange soda that they then clone Charles Couteau to
Gito
kill
with a
James
G, yeah.
Garfield again. Spoiler alert, before that can happen, James Garfield's liver collapses from drinking too much orange soda.
Oh gosh.
Because his body can't handle it. Very funny episode.
That's
Anyway,
funny.
please continue.
So the anyway, and this because he is basically tossed aside by the Garfield administration. They're like, look, you're not part of this. Like, stop bothering us. He thinks he's doing the country a favor by getting rid of Garfield and bringing the vice president into power, and so he shoots him. And the name of it, Death by Lightning, comes from a quote where Garfield didn't think he needed extra security because he said the likelihood of an assassination is no different than death by lightning. That's where the quote comes from.
I love presidential history. I read a lot of it on my own. Isn't this, correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe they haven't gotten to this point. Is the show over? Like, you've watched the whole thing?
It's a limited series, yep. So just
Okay.
6 episodes, I think. So.
I don't know if they get to this, or maybe I'm not even thinking of the right thing. But wasn't his doctor just terrible? Like,
Yeah.
wasn't he just like, was it either he believed in bloodletting, or he didn't believe in antibiotics, or he didn't believe in something that to that regard that could have just quickly saved his life? Instead, it was a long, slow death.
He likely died of sepsis as opposed to if they found out after the fact, and they've done some kind of afterwards studies and medical studies. Basically, if they left the bullet in him, he would have been fine.
Fascinating.
He would have eventually recovered and been. I mean, he may have been something a little worse for the wear with one thing, but he would have survived fine. But because they didn't sterilize the when they were making the incisions, those type of things too. So he that's why he ended up dying was from the sepsis. It was not necessarily from the bullet wound or that striking any particular organ. So, and they get into that in the movie or the limited series. So, but Michael Shannon playing Garfield is great. Matthew McFadden playing James? No. Charles Guiteau.
Do they address, and this is going to sound like a joke, I'm dead serious, do they address James Garfield's love of squirrel soup at any point?
No.
So that
sounds like a rural Ohio thing, though. But
so I'm very excited. He was recently on CBS News, and he has a great social media that grew out of TikTok. And I was doing longer form pieces. Apparently, he's working with Ken Burns to do a full Ken Burns documentary on this. They did an interview together recently. There's a man, I could look it up, I forget his name, but the name of his channel on Instagram, TikTok, wherever, is called Cooking with Congress. Are you aware of this channel at all? Have you seen it?
No, I'm to check it out.
He posts videos where he makes a meal that is from famous politicians, first ladies, and his most popular series is he's getting through all them all. He makes one favorite dish from each president.
Wow.
And he dictates, then he also eats like the president for a day. So he did eat like James Garfield for a day. And I forget what's in it, but he's basically and at the end, his dinner was this is a Garfield favorite. He detailed what into it, how often he had it, and it was squirrel soup.
Wow.
So, and he basically, in the line, because this guy's from Ohio also, by the way, the Cooking with Congress guy. And he was like, tell me if I'm right and tell me if this is true. This is directly to you I'm asking this. He says, every good Ohio boy has had squirrel at least once in their life.
That's I must not be a good Ohio boy then. So it's
there it is. There it is. So
deer, sure. There's a couple other animals, but not rabbit. Yes, but never squirrel.
Want to move on to Christmas stuff?
Never knowingly squirrel. How about that? So it's
how about we put those squirrels to bed?
Yes.
We talked to squirrels that could run through those wonderful pine trees, that we chop their homes down and leave the squirrels to die as we bring the trees inside and decorate them garishly. Then we throw them out on the street a month later.
They don't live in pine trees.
The squirrel's family is looking at their home that's been wrecked, and they see where they buried their father because he was homeless because Randy wanted a Christmas tree.
They drive the dog nuts anyway, so they had it coming.
All right, fair enough. Do your cats get the tree, or is it that situation?
No, luckily they sniff around it, but they don't run up it. So
fair enough. That's good. Anyway, you know what? I feel like though we need a change of setting. This drab theater that we often present what we watch, our topics dead center. If you're watching the YouTube version, we're in a very marble classy setting because we're classy people. But I've rented a space and I've gussied it up. and we'll transition into this beautiful
Ooh.
Christmas face. Again, watch the show on Spotify video, watch the show on YouTube if you're listening right now, and you'll see just top-notch visual effects, I promise you. Definitely not purchased from Adobe stock for $4.
I can hear the, piano, jingle bells, jazz in the background.
So we are going to do a bracket. We are going to look at the classic Christmas specials. We're going to look at 8 of them. Now, that means, because in your mind, there could be a lot more than 8 classic Christmas specials. Some were left off. We randomly generated the bracket of our 8 picks. A few
all
that
animated.
were left off. All animated, yes, correct. A few that were left off. We did look at, talk about briefly the idea of Muppets Family Christmas, Emmett Otter's Jug Band, because those are pretty popular around this time of year. 'Twas the Night Before Christmas was the Bubble Team, in my mind. They're another Rankin Bass animation, the same style as Frosty. And Rankin Bass did they do everything on this list except for Grinch and Garfield? They did all the other ones, right?
Peanuts, too. They didn't do that. They didn't do
of course.
Charlie Brown, yeah.
So that's still 5 of our 8 were Rankin Bass productions. 'Twas the Night Before Christmas was Rankin Bass. Last night, while I was discussing this with some friends and a listener, Megan, who we mention from time to time. Hi, Megan. I got some pushback that we needed to ditch Garfield for Pluto's Christmas Tree because it was a child favorite. I've never even heard of Pluto's Christmas Tree. I've never even seen it. And 2 different people were like, oh, that's way better than Garfield was a staple in my house growing up.
Was that on Disney Channel maybe? Because I feel like sometimes
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, because that's I've never.
And
heard
these
of that
people
either,
were Disney people, so it makes sense. There's a cult there. Your Disney adults are all in on it.
Yeah.
But aside from maybe those 3 or 4, are there any other specials that you entertained the idea of we should talk about, but they didn't make the list, or is that
no? The only one, and it's come lately, is the one Toy Story one, but it's only kind of Christmassy. Is it like Toy Story: The Time Forgot or whatever? Yeah. So, but that's more. It's more of a recency one. Yeah. No, I'm just saying that people might bring up. I don't think I'd include it, but that's they were a long shot to make the tournament. So
once again, this bracket has been randomly generated. There are seeds. There are, honest to God, some pretty good matchups. Like, we didn't do this on purpose, but to me, Year Without a Santa Claus and Santa Claus is Coming to Town are good 8 and 7 seed respectively. They should be at the bottom.
Yep.
Mickey's Christmas Carol and Frosty, maybe Mickey's not a number 1, but I could see Frosty pulling an easy number 2.
Yep.
So that said, in my mind, I think I would have replaced Mickey with our number 3 seed, Charlie Brown Christmas, or maybe our number 4, Rudolph. But Garfield Christmas, to me, solid number 5 seed. The real shock here, because I think some people would have put them as a number 1 seed. This would have been a number 1 seed, preseason number 1. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, 6 seed. What happened? What happened? Is it the movies devaluing the special? As you mentioned earlier?
It could be. I hadn't considered that part of it. As I texted with you, I think the Grinch, not great with the media, so the committee decided to push them up. Also, Grinch performing late only really got their stuff going on Christmas Eve, so not a lot of things going on. So I think they underperformed. The Grinch underperformed starting for this, and I think that's why they were a 6 seed, because they didn't come on till late.
This logic makes sense because our number 8 seed is Year Without a Santa Claus. Motherfucker took a whole year off. Came back late, made a late push, got on. But number 8, which is also then why number 7 is Santa Claus is Coming to Town. It's we appreciate your back this year, but get it together.
Mickey's Christmas Carol encompasses all of Scrooge's life. I think we got something here. I think we know what the committee's rationale was. We've uncovered it.
So, looking at, let's start with our first matchup, which will be Mickey's Christmas. Oh wait, no. What did you want to do?
No, we're good.
No, you said already. So, what did you?
Did I? Oh, I said, I'm ready. I think is what
I thought you said already, and I was like,
no, or already. I might have said so. Okay.
I thought you were like already, and I was like, yeah, bud. I don't know what to tell you. Did you have more?
No, let's hit the 1-8.
What's important is that was awkward as hell, and I don't know if I'll leave that in, but part of me wants to. So, but anyway, we're gonna look at Mickey's Christmas Carol. versus Year Without a Santa Claus. And
Hmm.
at least comparatively, to me, this is a pretty easy battle. Mickey's Christmas Carol was, until the Muppets, my definitive Christmas Carol.
Yep.
Then Muppet, obviously in 1992, took this over. This came out the year I was born, 1983. It
Hmm.
was, I'm pretty sure, a big hit. It was also fascinating to me because this, tell me if I'm barking up the wrong tree here. Mickey always relevant because of Disney World, Disneyland, but they have not put out Mickey content often or ever. For Mickey to actually be playing an active role in a narrative, there's a reason this became one of the things they pushed every year, aside from actually being good. This keeps Mickey prevalent as an
Yep.
active character. Am I wrong?
So this was initially released in the theaters in 1983. It was, I think, it was like a double billing. It was to fill in the time, but they re-released The Rescuers, the 1977 movie, animated movie, and added this to it in the holiday season time of 1983. It didn't air on TV until it aired on NBC in 1984. But what's important, and your thoughts are right on. This was the first time in almost 30 years that Mickey had been in a theatrically released cartoon. So like this was definitely to bring him back into the forefront, and it's a great way to kind of tie in. The characters are really well placed in all this thing. Where this is great to have. This is pre DuckTales Scrooge, obviously. So we don't really know. It's funny that that's actually his name, just because of Ebenezer Scrooge. But
Well, please keep in
we
mind he'd been published in comic books since the 1940s. Scrooge
okay,
McDuck had been a character in well-published, well-regarded Disney comics since, I think, at least
but he hadn't
1945.
been in animation until now, right?
I don't know. Keep going, and
Okay,
I'm going to look that up.
gotcha. So I'll give a little bit other backstory on this just because it's fun for this. The director of this, longtime Disney animator and producer, Bernie Mattinson's his name. He only had 2 directing credits with Disney, where he was the director producer. It's this and The Great Mouse Detective. Good
Oh,
job.
nice. That's a pretty good.
Yeah, it's a good
So,
duo.
looking it up, Scrooge got his own comic book series in 1952,
Okay.
and it was published regularly monthly until 1984.
Huh.
It actually
Interesting.
ended right before DuckTales, which is wild to think about.
That's crazy. That's
So,
a long,
um,
long.
so I hadn't thought about this. I
Mhm.
had been looking for ads for a lot of these. I wanted to see, because a lot of these specials have differences from how they aired the first time to how they aired later. And I
Mhm.
found a commercial for Mickey's Christmas Carol, but there was one that was plugging The Rescuers with it. And I was
Okay.
genuinely confused because it wasn't
There you go.
clicking that it was a theatrical release.
The one other part I have from the theatrical release, so that means that it was properly reviewed in the movie critic like landscape. Leonard Maltin really liked it. He thought it was a lot of fun, whimsy, and Siskel and Ebert, 2 thumbs down.
Really? God, they had some weird opinions sometimes, didn't they?
Unbelievable. I
By
couldn't
the way,
believe.
as soon as you said it was theatrical, I immediately went to see if it was nominated for Best Animated at
It.
the Academy Awards. Yes, and it lost to Jimmy Picker's Sunday in New York, which I've never heard
Sunday
of
in New
once in my
York,
entire fucking time.
never. Sunday
Moving
with an
on to
E,
that.
something about ice
Yeah,
cream, I'm sure. So,
not even bothering with that. That said,
yep,
let's move on. Let's talk a little Year Without a Santa Claus.
sure.
Of the between the two, Santa Claus is Coming to Town, A Year Without, I actually like this one more
Mm,
considerably. Santa Claus is Coming to Town, I am not a fan of.
it's
Um, that said, I do find Mrs. Claus, apparently she was like a famous actress, and I didn't realize this. It's like her last role. Did you catch her name? What's her name again?
Shirley Booth. Yeah. So
I had no idea, but apparently it was a big
from
deal at that
from
point
the
to have her
40s
doing
and
this.
50s. Yeah, she's
Yeah.
one of the few to win the Triple Crown. So
Oh, good for her. And that's
yeah,
the pre-EGOT, right? Before the
yeah.
Grammys, before the what was the
So it would have
well,
been. She didn't win a Grammy. She won an Emmy, an
oh
Oscar, and a
yeah.
Tony.
I'd
Yep.
like you to know that I was
An
struggling
EOT.
because in my mind, EGOT had 5 letters for some reason. I was like, what's the 5th one, Randy? That's not smart. So I like this one. To me, this one though is all about the Heat Miser and the Snow
Yep.
Miser. Snow Miser song better than Heat Miser song. Fight me. Do you disagree?
No, I think that's right. It's, you know, Dick Shawn, I think, was more the entertaining of the two, in my opinion. Not that the Heat Miser was bad, but I think that, and they were both, you know, animated to kind of look like the actors that were voicing them, and so it was, yeah, fun.
That's fair.
I'm with you on this. Like, this is perfectly enjoyable fare. I don't, it's inoffensive, but I would think I would agree. I like it a little bit better, more because the secondary characters are more fun.
By the way, we joked about the ordering about how it went year without Santa Claus Go to Town, but I believe Santa Claus is Coming to Town actually came out first the year before,
It did.
correct? So this is
1970, 4 years
yep.
ahead. This
Oh,
was
okay, and
1974.
this
Yep.
oh my bad, and but still voiced by Mickey Rooney, so same
Yep.
Santa Claus canonically, making that work. Looks the same. Anything I think, anytime I think of Mickey Rooney, I realize he had a long storied career, but I immediately just think of Dana Carvey's impression on SNL.
Right.
I was the biggest star from 1940 to 1941 in the world. I tell you, the world.
Fun
But
side thing too. Him and Dick Shawn, who played the Snow Miser, were together in "It's a Mad, 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 Mad World" in 1963. So
and
fun
the
that they
guy
worked.
who I did see that. I never watched this. They did a sequel to this called The Miser Brothers in the 80s, where they got Mickey Rooney and Heat Miser's voice actor, who is still alive, back to do their voices.
Right.
But they got somebody else, as Dick Shawn had passed like 20 years before they
Right.
did it.
Yeah.
So good songs, good cheer, nice animation with that Rudolph claymation style.
Yep.
But Mickey's Christmas Carol, yeah, honest to God, Alan Young as Scrooge puts it over the top. His performance as Scrooge is so good. His first
Yep.
time he did Scrooge, he would then do Scrooge until he died. Respect to David Tennant, who is naturally Scottish. I don't
Yeah.
give a shit. This guy is Scrooge, and
It's
you realize what his other famous role was, do you?
Mr. Ed. I couldn't believe
Yeah,
that when I
he
looked
was
it
the
up.
human in Mr. Ed. Did you see the
That's a note
trivia
I
about
had
when
too,
he
yeah.
was cast? The trivia about his casting?
No.
His trivia about his casting is apparently, hang on, let me bring it up. I actually have the quote. Originally, Alan Young was not considered for Scrooge, despite having played it in a Disney album recording. Reportedly, it was because Disney believed he would not agree to do a voice for an animated film. However, when he learned about the production from a friend who was preparing to audition, he called Disney to request an audition. The audition was obviously successful, and then he was told about why the studio didn't want to contact him. In reaction, he responded, "I worked in TV for 5 years with a talking horse. At this point in my career, nothing is beneath me." So
I know I have it somewhere in this weird landscape. I have, you know, Scrooge McDuck talking to Mr. Ed. No, that would have been the thing we needed to see from the outtakes. I'm sure it never happened, but it's
other little things. This is the last role for original Donald Duck voice, but the first role for the Mickey Mouse voice that would continue from 1983 until 2009, Wayne Allwine. So I think it's time, though, for us to pick a winner, and to me, I think it's pretty clear.
all right. I think
Mickey's
Mickey.
Christmas Carol.
Yep.
By the way, I love this little bracket program. Not only lets you pick a winner, can assign a score. We're not going to do that, but part of me wants to add scores.
Yeah.
But Mickey's advances.
Yep.
Now, do we want to go seed to seed, or are we going top down?
Oh, we can just go top down. Yeah. So
okay. So next is a Garfield Christmas versus Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I realize this is for most people, considering based on like what I said about the text earlier, Rudolph's going to fucking cream Garfield. Rudolph is prevalent. He's gotten 1 million knockoff sequels, 1 million different licensed versions, 1 million different recordings of the songs. But does Rudolph have a theme song by Lou Rawls? God, that's funky as hell. So what I didn't look up, and I really kind of wanted to, was this recorded by Lou Rawls for this, or was this a genuine Christmas song they licensed from Lou Rawls? That's what I don't know.
Boy, I hope it's the latter.
Right. What if he just has that weird, greedy Christmas album? So now I'm going to look that up. Lou Rawls Christmas songs. Let me... Christmas album. Blue Rawls Christmas songs. Gimme, gimme. I'm gonna take a song. Oh, here we go. Here we go. No, it was written for the special,
Yeah.
which is probably for the best to recognize. So, but that said, Rudolph is Rudolph. But Garfield has that scene with Grandma where they recognize Grandpa and she pets the cat and he's sad because Grandpa's not there for Christmas.
I think we could still give these two things their flowers real quick too. We can get it. Did you have extra stuff on either of these? Because I looked up a couple
hit
fun
me with some
things.
trivia. I do have a couple of airing differences between Rudolph's classic version, original version, and what we would know. Do you want to hit those airing versions or your trivia first? How do you want to go?
Let's do the airing and then we'll get the trivia and then we'll get into what we are pretty sure is going to be the.
Like so many specials in the 60s, there was integrated commercials and product placements. Like they would stop to do an ad in an old, soap opera or something, and in between, instead of taking a full commercial, these specials would transition to a sponsorship, sometimes other things, like in the animation style, almost seamlessly as part of it. So the original 1964 airing of Rudolph was sponsored by GE, General Electric.
Mm-hmm.
The following program is brought to you in living color on NBC.
Remember when color was special?
It
is new.
The General Electric Fantasy Hour.
Good at
What
it.
energy! What energy they're bringing to this.
Musical for
Did you say each of those words individually?
Presented by the General Electric Company, makers of world-famous portable home appliances, clocks, health, beauty, and floor care products.
Beauty and floor care products.
Yeah, And then, if you're not watching on YouTube or Spotify video, this is claymation, black and white, in the style, with the elves, holding a GE logo.
Here's the gift for the 25th for every girl who wants a curl.
A General Electric hairdryer in this fashionable new travel case.
Touch-up curling is an easy chore.
All right, we'll move on for now. But the other part I wanted to show on this is one bit of trivia for Rudolph. Are you aware that the island of misfit toys in the original airing was not rescued?
I have got
a credit comparison video that if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify video, they're going to put the left and right original versus what they did for what we watched from 1965 until today.
As for the rest of the story,
He went down in history.
Santa's coming through. Burl Live starts. What's interesting is that as soon as they cut to the elf in the sleigh is when it's going to change. The original airing, he pulls out packages that have the credits of the artist.
Yep.
In the new one, because they wrote in so many letters and so many children complained, that they typed the credits over the misfit toys being given new homes. Because Rudolph had promised them homes, and then they never followed up on it. Also, what a banger. Burl Ives did the version of this song.
Yeah.
Definitive version. No one will ever hold a candle. Anyway, that's all I have for Rudolph stuff. Just some fascinating differences.
I was going to say, although Gene Autry's version was the second most sold single, I think, until the 1980s ever. So 25 million copies of it. So, but yes, I agree. Burl Ives does the great stuff in here.
Little trivia, there's a little background. Let's talk about the merits and who advances. Do you give, is this Saban era Alabama? Is Rudolph going to advance because the committee loves Rudolph and Rudolph always advances? Or does Garfield have a fighting chance here?
This is, if we're doing kind of like March Madness, college basketball references here, that Rudolph is
Nick Saban a college basketball coach?
Oh, that's not true. So I'm thinking more of how we get Garfield in there, but I guess it could be the same thing. But Garfield is kind of the gimmicky offense that took college football by storm. If we'll go back to college football, that is great this year and great maybe next year, but eventually everybody's going to figure it out. Whereas Rudolph is we recruited a whole bunch of 6'6", 300-pound athletic freaks, and we have 100 of them. And
it's a perennial contender is what it is. Garfield has its fans, its moments, and there's someone who, like me, who fought with someone yesterday saying Garfield's going to come back and Garfield's worth your time. Invest in Garfield. And there's other people who are saying they're washed up. It's not worth it.
Garfield deserves to be in the tournament. Got an unfortunate draw with Rudolph at 4. I think that's what we would say. So it's Rudolph goes beyond, like, there isn't, as much as you enjoyed the Lou Rawls song, that is not permeating like mainstream culture. Rudolph has at least 2 songs that are always played around Christmas time, and you could even throw in like Silver and Gold gets in there from time to time.
It does.
I mean, Holly Jolly Christmas and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer are perpetual Christmas themes. I mean, so it's I think from that point it easily gets moved on.
And honest to God, if I'm being real, from as much as I enjoy Garfield, and I'm joking a little, but I will properly defend it if somebody tries to slander it. I don't think Garfield beats anyone but Year Without and Santa Claus Is Coming to Town.
Yeah.
You stack Garfield up against anyone else in this tournament, and it's not advancing. That's just the way it is. That being said,
it is very fun. It is not. It is not an indictment of how it being poor. It just is, unfortunately, not as good as the others.
So here's my question then: why? What happened? How did Rudolph become the classic? Because it's not just the songs. People have to watch between the songs, and there are funny moments. There's good acting, but is there what intangible quality of this special has made it famous since 1964?
I mean, the music is the number one thing, I think. That being able to carry, not just have the one song, because I think that's what we'll talk about it later as we get into it. Santa Claus Is Coming to Town. I mean, to a lesser extent, Frosty the Snowman. Like, if you have one good song, that's great, but that really only carries either the end credits or the very beginning of it. Rudolph has a bunch of songs that are really good that carry throughout the whole thing. This is the first one, right? This is the first Rankin Bass.
Yes, everything came from this. This built the empire.
So the originator, we haven't really seen a lot of this type of stuff, and I think it blew people away. It's a pretty heartwarming story too. Like it has a nice. Burl Ives and that was a great choice because originally it was supposed to be the guy who voiced Yukon Cornelius was going to be the voice of the Sam the Snowman, and GE wanted a bigger name, so they got Burl Ives, and they're all the better for it. And it was a perfect choice. And to have that, it flows all the way through. I mean, the story's a little bit different, I think, than the poem/book from the late 30s, but it captures the attention. There at no point is it. We'll see this. I mean, we won't really talk about it, but a lot of the Rudolph sequels and other things like that get into some kind of convoluted storytelling. This is pretty consistent.
They send Rudolph on weird adventures, and it's not about Rudolph. The adventure in this one is because of a personal journey of him being a misfit, which is also why it resonates, I think.
Yep.
Because people, I think, are more likely to identify with Rudolph as the outcast who maybe gets the, but that being said, terrible lesson at the end. Rudolph isn't accepted because of who he is as a person. Rudolph is accepted because they realize they have a use for him.
He's useful.
Oh shit. Hey, that thing that we were saying was freakish about you.
Which they kind of did with a lot of them. They did that with a Bumble too. Like
well, Bumbles bounce. You have to understand. They all have uses.
And you can put the star on the tree. So it's all is good. And I mean, I think the reception justified it too. This is crazy. When it was first in 1964, when it aired, 55% of the TV audience watched this. And now, granted, there were 3 channels, but still, 55 is a lot. And the one when you brought up the credits, that was the other little bit of trivia I had for this. And I think to this day they've never fixed it. They left out a Roman numeral in the copyright date. Mm-hmm. So instead of being 1964, it's actually 1164. So it says copyright 1164. They left out an M in it. So which is
I'm going to tell you, I think that's expired then. That's why we get all these sequels. Not because Rudolph's royalty free as a song at this point, but because
there we go. Nice.
They fucked up the copyright. So it's pretty obvious that Rudolph's advancing here. I feel like.
I think so.
Yeah. So.
Moving the one fun note, I'll just throw it in on Garfield because it was the fun trivia I had from the voice standpoint. Pat Carroll voiced the grandma, who also voiced Ursula in Little Mermaid, but she also played Shirley's mom on Laverne and Shirley, which is sort of noteworthy because the voice of Doc Boy which is John's brother, was voiced by David Lander, who voiced Squiggy on Laverne and Shirley. So two Laverne and Shirley connections in Garfield Christmas.
I'm going to tell you right now, you were halfway through that, and I was like, where the fuck is this going? It's like, I was genuinely doing, like, my head is like, is he a bigger Laverne and Shirley fan? Like, is this a big deal to him? I was
No.
like trying to place
It's
it out.
a fun connection I found. So that's it.
Noted and understood. So now we get to what is the hardest first round battle here.
This is tough.
Because Charlie Brown Christmas, How the Grinch Stole Christmas.
Both underseated, in my opinion. So.
Oh, 100%. But both all-time classics, both permeating the consciousness. In the modern day, Grinch may be more popular, but not because of the Christmas special, because of all the movies. That being said, Charlie Brown Christmas is so... This is what the Peanuts brand is living on today. It's Charlie Brown Christmas. Yes, Great Pumpkin gets played. Yes, the comics are reprinted. Yes, this. Yes, they had the CGI movie a couple years ago that I think did pretty well, actually.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But this is built on Charlie Brown Christmas. There are people who would murder me for saying this, but gut reaction, I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid. I'm going to talk it all through. This is not a hard line. My opinion can change. My gut reaction is Grinch takes the win.
Ooh, we're going to fight. This will be interesting.
There you go. I
have
wanted
stats
to say
back me
that
up,
now
so.
to get, well, you know, there you go.
It's not, I mean, it's tough. I agree. This is.
It is.
One
I
of the
love this. I watched Charlie Brown Christmas last night. I watched Grinch. No, I didn't watch Grinch this year. I watched it last year still. But the one thing I had said, aside from Year Without a Santa Claus and Santa Claus Coming Down, I mentioned this to you yesterday. I didn't really need to rewatch most of these. I've seen these to death.
Yeah.
I watched Charlie Brown last night just because I wanted to. Actually, I was watching the new episode of Pluribus, and then it was on Apple TV, so I thought, well, let's watch Charlie Brown Christmas. Talk to me, because clearly you're a Charlie Brown guy. Clearly I'm a Grinch guy. This is going to take a minute. Do you want to hit trivia, facts, notes? You want to talk about what makes the specials work for us? What do you got?
We can get the trivia out of the way just for the fun part, and then we'll get into the actual, like, battle in the ring. What do you want to do first? Grinch? Or...
You take the lead, buddy. I don't care. Great. You got more notes than I do.
We'll do Grinch first. So this originally aired on CBS in 1966, directed masterfully, I might say, by Chuck Jones of Looney Tunes fame. The animation's incredible to bring Dr. Seuss's pages to life. It looks animated like Dr. Seuss would want to. And he worked together with Chuck Jones, which is really fun because the two of them worked together on a bunch of military training cartoons called Private Snafu, which in World War II, the two of them worked together with Mel Blanc doing the voices, which is really fun.
That's pretty good.
I didn't watch any of those, but
that's cool though. I have to look into that.
Yep. Boris Karloff was really excited to do this role. They really only wanted to pick him for the voice, but he was a big Dr. Seuss fan, so he was really excited to be involved with this. And the reason the Grinch sounds a little bit different than the narration is the sound engineers took out any high, not that he has a high-pitched voice, but any high pitches in his voice to give the gruffer sound to the Grinch's delivery.
That's pretty cool. The one thing, I've heard this for years, and I'm looking it up. Is this true? Did you read this anywhere? That despite being an all-time classic, Dr. Seuss initially was like, Boris Karloff might freak out the kids. Is it going to be too scary? Is that a bad call?
I think he needed some help from Chuck Jones to figure that out. But I think he ultimately trusted, because of all his Looney Tunes fame, that he would figure something out with the voice. Yeah. Like he would know what would fit something that he was animating. I think he trusted him to make that work. Right. It's because I think, I didn't have this written down, but I remember reading it. I think Chuck Jones said he liked it so much because he was the best cartoon villain since, and I can't remember what the since was, but
well, what a great quote.
That's why he wanted to do this so much. So, and I don't have any notes, but this is gonna be tricky because we're putting
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Oh, there you go.
I googled it.
There we go.
Well, very obscure
Christmas
character.
villain. Christmas villain.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
villain,
Well,
so,
I looked up the quote. It was Ebenezer Scrooge.
We're pitting two of the most iconic Christmas special songs against each other, and it's going to be hard. because
Yeah,
they both.
you're talking about the Wynton is it Wynton? No, it's
Uh,
not Wynton Marsalis. Who did the instrument, the classic
Vince
Peanuts?
Guaraldi, yeah.
Vince Guaraldi. My God, Wynton, I think, did a re-recording in the 90s.
He did,
which I
yeah.
remember
It's
very
been
closely.
recorded by a bunch of people. Dave Brubeck
But
did it, yeah. But
Vince
Guaraldi
Guaraldi's
wrote.
jazz score is one of the all-time classic soundtracks. I would take that, admittedly, over the Grinch.
So I'm talking "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." That's what I'm talking about. So like,
yeah. No, that's
saying,
better.
I'm saying if you put
yeah.
that song against Linus and Lucy, and it's like, whew, that's heavy hitter songs that have lasted, that are, and the performance. I don't know, just from the beginning of Linus and Lucy, the bass part. I looked this up. I forget. Oh, it's called ostinato. That's actually the name of that beginning part. Or I don't know, the piano playing. Anyway, but Thorough Raisin Coughs is, there you go.
Gonna get sued for this one. Gonna get demonetized. Gonna get a copyright strike. Don't give a fuck.
It's so good.
It's just so good. By the way, I didn't know that was called Linus and Lucy, because at this point on every thing ever, it's just called the Charlie Brown Christmas song.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you where you sway me is I have listened to this one outside of Christmas because it's so good. Like, it'll come up on shuffle or it'll come up on something and I'll just be like, this slaps. Oh, I'll keep this. Your Mean One, Mr. Grinch is great seasonally, and I will enjoy it and I will love it. But you are right. That is, I will tell you, because of the year-roundness where I would take it, that gives the song the edge, I think, personally.
It's so, You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch is so good because both of them inspire a visual when you're listening to it, right? You see it immediately. Like, you see that, whether it's the kids dancing or they're walking along, by the wall. Like, I can see Linus and Charlie Brown walking along while that's playing, or the kids dancing in the auditorium or whatever. But and the same thing, when I hear You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch, I see the Grinch slinking through and getting the presents and all that stuff.
Based on that, if we're strictly talking song, I will give Charlie Brown the edge. But I'm still not necessarily won over on the special yet, because this is going to get controversial, and this is going to get uncomfortable for some people, and there's no way I can talk about this without bringing my own feelings into the matter. Gets a little preachy for me. Gets a little preachy. I get that that's what so many people love about it, and the message is wonderful, but it gets a little heavy in that world that I'm like, okay, thanks, kids. Thanks. It's just me. Again, this is personal preference. Please remember that. I'm not shitting on your deities. Everything's great. Go God. Big fan. If you're around, love your work. But as it comes from the special, trying to enjoy a cartoon here.
I guess. I don't, you're talking about what, 80 seconds of a whole thing?
I guess. Maybe that's why, maybe to me that's saying it doesn't stick the landing, because then after that immediately just goes into funny thing, and then it goes, oh, and also actually, I've never liked the ending where they suddenly just busted the song. I
like when The Simpsons makes fun of it, but
yes, but I'm talking myself into, as much as I love the Peanut song, the Linus and Lucy, I'm finding more flaws about the special that I'm like, not my favorite bits.
The other thing, so this did win an Emmy and a Peabody. So Peabody. That's my New England. Sorry, Peabody.
Sorry, I've slurred like 5 times today. Who am I to fucking call anybody out?
So, yeah, I'm. The soundtrack from this sold 5 million copies. I just think this is, when you compare the two together, if you like the Grinch more, I guess, but I think Charlie Brown has more behind it to win this. That's my take on it.
I will say that I like Grinch more. And one thing I would like to reiterate to people, if you're talking about the Charlie Brown has more behind it and is more popular, blah, 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 I would like to note that some people will be like, but the Grinch, we are not talking about the additional movies that have come later.
Right.
We're looking strictly at the merits of the yearly special. As a franchise at this point, Grinch probably is outstripping the cultural relevance of Charlie Brown.
The animated one was pretty good, but
Say, I don't really like either one, but I'm talking about that keeps it in the cultural sphere, right? Charlie Brown, see, this sways me back over, though. Charlie Brown is as prevalent, popular, and noteworthy and still in the conversation without having to do any of that.
there have been play versions of it, but I think that's almost like loving tributes to it rather than it needed it to expand its rationale, right? Like
You're right. I think the winner here is, I personally would enjoy Grinch a little more if I watched it, but the winner is a Charlie Brown Christmas.
Okay.
Charlie Brown Christmas advances up. Unless now that I've said that, you're having second thoughts.
No, I did. I'm trying to see if there's a way I can talk myself into the Grinch, but between the two, I don't think I could be swayed.
It's fine. You
just
don't need
because
to.
of the other stuff that's stacked up. It's all things equal, there are more things in their basket.
As I've done with some of these other ones, Charlie Brown has some sponsorships that got cut from the beginning and end. I will show you the opening tag, like the title tag, which is animated a bit differently. So Snoopy grabs Linus. We all remember that. Charlie Brown gets tied up in the blanket. This is where it gets different. He hits the thing. Wait for it. Charlie Brown Christmas. There's an added scene of Linus getting thrown, brought to you by the people in your town who bottle Coca-Cola. So the original note in the special we've watched since like 1966, like 2 years later, Charlie Brown gets thrown into a tree and we move on with the special. There was an added bit of Linus getting fucked up too, brought to you by Coca-Cola.
That's right.
So that's your extra little bit of business. But we move on to honest to God. It's a wet fart of a last first round matchup. Santa Claus is coming to town versus Frosty the Snowman. I don't have anything I want to talk about with Santa Claus is coming to town. This is the one I've watched the least. It's the one I enjoy the least. I don't have anything for it. Meanwhile, Frosty the Snowman has Frosty the Snowman. The song, the character, that weird magician, the rabbit.
Yep.
Everything about Frosty I dig. To me, it's a quick, instant victory. But talk to me about any notes you have on it, thoughts between the two. Do you put up any kind of fight for Santa Claus is coming to town?
No. I have notes about it, but
you keep talking. I'm just going to advance that bracket.
Yeah, these two both continuing the theme of a famous actor voicing, the narration, right? So because we've got Fred Astaire voicing Santa Claus is coming to town as the mail carrier, and then Jimmy Durante for Frosty the Snowman, and just basically getting a chance to sing the theme. That's the main reason. So there is a legendary voice actor who is in both of these, Paul Frees, who was he voiced in Frosty, he voices Santa, and then he voices Burgermeister Meisterburger in Santa Claus is Coming to Town. Was basically like the man of 1,000 voices. Like it's Mel Blanc, and then it's this guy, this Paul Frees.
He's Boris and Rocky and Bullwinkle. That's all I needed to know.
And then if you watched any of the other Jay Ward George of the Jungle stuff, he is a bunch of the characters in any of the George of the Jungle and the George of the Jungle offshoots. He voiced in the original Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland. It does the Dead Men Tell No Tales. That's his voice originally on the Pirates of the Caribbean. Was the voice of Ludwig von Drake in Disney. Like it just is all sorts of stuff. He's a guy. He's, like I said, kind of like Mel Blanc. Like just has done a million different things. So that's the only kind of tie I have between the two. But this is a no-brainer.
So let's
Frosty is great. It's fun. It's a lot more interesting than Santa Claus is Coming to Town. And moving.
Yeah. So
Let's go
listen,
to the semis.
we all kind of knew this was going to come down to it, but literally, guess who made the final four? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, top four.
And this is honest to God, I don't think this is the final. I think everyone thought this would be the final four. If I were to give you 4 Christmas specials to name without this bracket in front of you, I think this could wind up being the final four for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Order aside, the titles would be here.
I think Grinch had an outside shot with a different matchup.
Oh, yeah. I would actually take, you know what? You're right. I would take Grinch
maybe over
over
Frosty.
Mickey. Grinch,
over Frosty
Rudolph,
too,
Charlie Brown, Frosty would actually be the final four. You're right. If it hadn't wound up with this matchup, Grinch would take Mickey's spot.
Sometimes you get bad matchups. So.
Yep. You get that surprise first round out. So, but let's talk Mickey versus Rudolph, which is a tough fucking matchup. But Rudolph, I think, for notoriety gets the edge, but Mickey is Mickey.
I think it's the music, though. Rudolph has the music that carries it through. Mickey doesn't really have music. It's just like behind. There's no like actual songs. Not that it needs to have it, but when that permeates everything else, like you hear that constantly in shopping malls. You hear it on the radio. They have radio stations, specifically for Christmas music. You're going to hear a bunch of Rudolph stuff in there.
Listen, I'll be blunt. I wanted to put up the pretense of being able to talk about this, but let's be honest. I don't want to rush it, but we all know the final is going to be Rudolph versus Charlie Brown. There's no way Frosty takes Charlie Brown. There's no way Mickey takes Rudolph. We've talked about the specials in their history. Yeah. Does Frosty put up a fight against Charlie Brown? He has the song. He's entertaining. It's fun. But if Charlie Brown was able to edge out the fucking Grinch, Charlie Brown's edging out Frosty. That's just the way it is.
Having Durante and Frosty the Snowman gives it some pluck. So they fight, but I think they get knocked away in the second half. So
it's a closer game. It's a way closer game than Mickey versus Rudolph.
Exactly.
And Mickey is exposed as a number 1 seed that shouldn't have been a number 1 seed.
They played an easy schedule. It was just they had a bunch of wins against bad teams. So
everyone saw it coming. Everyone knew. They thought, well, the only way Mickey advances is if somehow Garfield squeezes past Rudolph, and Garfield ain't squeezing past Rudolph.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what 1960s angry Booker voice I was just doing. But I imagine I had a cigar in my mouth. Like, kid, you're putting all your money on Garfield. It's a stupid bet. Rudolph's going to beat him.
You're going to be in the red as much as that nose, kid.
Ah, you dumb son of a bitch. I'll take your money, but I'm trying to teach you.
You'll go down in history as the dumbest motherfucker alive.
You dumb son of a bitch. Talking to me about Grandma. He's got a nose. It saved Christmas, you fuck. I kind of turned into Mickey from Rocky there at the end.
Nice. Yes.
So, yeah. I didn't say this on what we watched, but I actually rewatched Rocky 1 and 3. I weirdly skipped 2 this past week. I don't know. 2's always been weak to me. It's just the happy ending that they wanted to give Rocky. Anyway, moving on.
Wrecking machine.
So, you're a wrecking machine, Rudolph. You're gonna get through the snow. So, listen, do we want to just get to the final and argue
I think we
over
should,
Rudolph versus Charlie Brown? We know the deal here.
Because we hit our trivia and our things that we've already sort of said, so I think it's really just matchups at this point.
It is what it is. So I kind of had the feeling that I was like, oh, this is kind of going. Then it struck me, and it was like, when we get to these ones that we've already talked about, this is going to cruise. To me, though, this is a battle. They have equal pop culture weight, they have multiple bits and songs. They have classic comedy around them. I think Charlie Brown is funnier, and Charlie Brown has more, and I didn't mention this earlier, Charlie Brown, of all of these specials, has the most realness to it. Has the most real characters, has the most relatability to anyone. But Rudolph challenges that. I mentioned above that people can connect with the messages of Rudolph.
Sure.
We're putting the two that have the most relatability against each other. The two that I think have the most, consistently listenable to soundtracks. Because there's the music throughout both. There's so much goodwill coming from both of these. How do you pick? Do you have a gut reaction choice that you like?
When we first did this whole thing, I was pretty sure Charlie Brown was going to win the whole thing. But boy, this is because I'm going kind of when it gets to being this close and just on face value, I'm like, I'm not sure which one I would choose. I try to break it down into, okay, musically, right? The music is unbelievable on Charlie Brown, but Christmas Time Is Here or whatever is not as good as Holly Jolly Christmas, which is the second best song in Rudolph. So like, but do I think, well, I mean, and then you go, all right,
Charlie Brown has a more emotionally rewarding ending if we put up all the things I've already said. Charlie Brown actually gets like an arc that is resolved to some degree.
Yeah.
Again, Rudolph, great ending. He saves Christmas, but they just realized they could use him. They didn't learn anything.
And then, but then I think about the ancillary characters, right? Or the extra characters. And do I like Snoopy more than I like Yukon Cornelius? Do I?
No,
I mean,
I like
right?
Yukon more than Snoopy.
You know what I mean?
Is
like,
quotable.
Like, there
but
isn't
Charlie Brown as a special, I think, is infinitely more quotable overall than Rudolph. But there are moments in Rudolph that stand out more than Charlie Brown. And I am stuck going back and forth between these.
I think there's a bigger, and that's part of my, I can't believe I'm starting to lean towards Rudolph, but like I feel like it has garnered a little bit more. Well, I mean, it's tough because they've both had basically stage adaptations. So like there's been a stage adaptation of Rudolph. There's been stage adaptations of Charlie Brown Christmas. So is that advancing further there? We haven't had any redo, like no one's tried to remake either of these with good reason. But
I disagree. People have tried to remake Rudolph a bunch, and that's because it's royalty free. That's why there've been weird knockoffs and weird sequels and weird things.
I don't think
there have been other animation companies. And that ties into the same argument I had with the Grinch, is why I think Charlie Brown is going to win this. And let me lay this out one more time. Rudolph has had other specials and knockoffs and direct-to-videos and in team-ups and adventures, just like the Grinch has had his theatrical movies and his sequels and his knockoffs. Charlie Brown Christmas has always only ever been a Charlie Brown Christmas as one special. You can't count all the other specials as a part of it. People think of a Charlie Brown Christmas. One special since 1964 or 5, did I say? But that is as relevant today as any of these other specials, as popular, maybe more than any of these other specials. And if you put the two up against it, Rudolph's brand has been diluted. Popular and prevalent as may be, Charlie Brown has only ever been Charlie Brown and is as big or bigger. And I think it gives it the edge.
I think you're right. Yeah, when you bring that's well presented. I think that's right. It is preserved, right? It is what it was in 1965, but that's what we love about it, right? It has not been influenced. It influences, but it has not been influenced. How about that?
Did I almost give Grinch the victory over it? 100%. It was a tough fight. But once it got past that fight, it was cruising and is good to stand up to all these other things.
That happens all the time in tournaments, you know?
It almost fell to Rudolph. It almost fell to the Rudolph for the same reason it could have almost fallen to the Grinch. But the same reason it won is literally the same reason it won here is why I put it over Grinch. It's an unstoppable fact for what it is to put it to the top.
You've said it perfectly.
Thank you.
A worthy competitor, Rudolph. We had a good final. I bet you a lot of people watched the final. Yeah,
100%. And the ratings are going to be off the charts for this one special that's exclusively now on Apple TV. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Right. I actually and there's actually something else about it. It is, of all these specials, now locked into an exclusive streamer and still popping up.
So I thought I saw something does PBS run it now?
Oh, does it? I didn't realize.
I thought that they were doing that because it's only on Apple. I may be making that up.
And that, interesting. They've struck a deal. Yep, here we go.
Yep.
They have struck a deal for limited free airings on PBS and PBS Kids in December. That makes me so happy because going to PBS will also mean it can continue to stay relevant and get to as many kids as possible because it will get on an even bigger platform. That makes me very happy to keep it in the public eye and also adds to its victory, frankly.
Yeah, right.
So let us retire back to our cozy den of Christmas. I say cozy den. I didn't make a den background here. This is a fucking concert hall.
Sorry. I was looking at the background of yours, and I thought that was part of the... I'm like, what is
like
that shelf of stuff?
Background?
Oh,
no, that's just me. But
we did
lots
a bunch
of different images. I remember this one when we talked about it because I had put a little animated fighter in there at the time. So that's in the archives, by the way. Christmas is when we started doing the show in video last year.
Nice.
Our Christmas Carol tier list was our first ever video episode from last year. Oh. So we've been doing the show where you can see our faces for 1 year, and we've now been doing the show for 2 years, you and I. Often, admittedly, this year has had a decrease in the amount of episodes because things picked up, things happened, but we're still trying to put them out as we can. I'm still enjoying it as we head into year 3 of doing this.
Wow.
Buddy. Isn't that wild?
Crazy stuff. What a ride.
I've often said that if we can get people to listen, those that listen tend to keep listening and enjoying it. The hardest part is getting people to listen. But thank you for those of you that have listened and watched this year, last year, hearing this now. We really appreciate it. If you are listening or watching, let us know. 5-star reviews, comments, likes, thumbs up, shares, anything you can to get us to more people and let us know you're out there. But regardless, and I think we'll still put one more episode out before Christmas, but in case we don't, have a happy holiday. Have a Merry Christmas. Randy, any final thoughts?
No. Enjoy the holiday season. It's a great time of the year. Bye, everybody.
Yes, and if we can get our shit together, we'll get one more Christmas episode out before Christmas. And so bye.